All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Heartwood podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Thomas Rashard Easley, a.k.a. Hip Hop Forester, a.k.a. Rashard Ease. And just want to start off by thanking, Yale School of the Environment for supporting this. And because my two brothers are not here with me, that's Benny Lupo and Isaac Carew, because we're filming on site in Raleigh, North Carolina. But we do have real blessed videography helping us, to record this episode. Now, this is part 2, okay? We're so special this season because we're doing it differently. This is part 2 of a conversation that we had with someone probably said stalwart, especially in Parks and Recreation. And in part 1, we learned a lot about his life journey. I think some about his legacy, but what impacted his central nervous system, as he put it, what led to basically his whole journey from city government all the way to the federal government. And so I think that one was good to end on that note, so that you get an understanding of, some of how he thinks, some of what, he's interested in, some of how he, makes various decisions or sees things. This episode, part 2, okay, this is us now about to, let's see how he thinks on his feet now. Okay, we got some questions. It asks none other, okay, than the illustrious Mickey Fearn. Welcome back, man, for part 2, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. I hope they came back. I hope they got something out of it.
I know they did because it was too many gems, and it's a lot of gems that you don't get from someone unless you sit with them. Mm-hmm. And I think just let them, just share. That's what I'm gonna say. Just share. Without putting any time to it. And so I got a lot. Okay, out of last time. Okay, that's my. I still love how you characterize things, and when we talked about the March on Washington and, and then even sharing in your life with how you ended up in the redwoods, and, so thank you for that. And then also breaking down how you've always been in innovation. And in many ways, some would say DEI, but I think it's innovation, because I think to get people to do what they kind of don't want to do and to look at societal ills, I don't think that people are trained very well to do that. But you obviously bring a strong knack to it. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing is that when you start talking about Parks and Recreation, you talk about that like I talk about forestry. Okay,
okay, yeah.
It was like you weren't all over. You were direct exactly where it is that you need to go, and that's really where we paused. Okay, the last time. Now, hold up. See, my paper fell over. It's all right. See that? Too smooth to be embarrassed. All right. So. Like I said, today is about hearing about your opinion of a number of things, and you and I always have amazing conversations about the world, about even war, about relationships, okay, and of course, I think also about like government and diversity, equity, and inclusion. You said in the last episode, you talked about how people, and I actually just not only just elaborate on that, but I'm going to take it into the question. You said you can learn a lot about a person with how they recreate, okay, with how they use their, how they use that time in their life.
Yes.
Okay. But then you also are very, I think, serious that Parks and Recreation can rectify a lot of ills and really, I think, kind of make individuals resilient. Like you've been saying that since I've known you for over a decade. Mm-hmm. And I believe it just because of what you say it. But I think that's where I want to go with this is, can you share how you see Parks and Recreation making communities or individuals thrive and making them more resilient? And why Parks and Recreation?
Well, there's a couple pieces to this question, referring back to J.R. Needy, the Oklahoma white guy who I went to talk to, who is really responsible for all of this. He put me in a position to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. But immediately coming into Parks and Recreation, I saw a statement that said, too many people consider Parks and Recreation something that happens with leftover space and leftover time with leftover money. That's how Americans have defined public parks and recreation as a non-essential service. Right? Mm-hmm. And of course, it's the most non-essential service that there is. So remember that leftover time, leftover money, leftover space. Yeah. Right. And then when you look back at the history of Parks, Recreation, and Leisure, what you realize discretionary time has always been used to practice the survival skills that were required for the time that you lived in. That's where sport came from. Practicing for war and hunting. We have always used when we got some time off.
Yeah.
We used it for a couple of things. We used it to celebrate what we had done.
Yes.
Recreation. We used to practice survival skills required for what we were doing, whether it was hunting in war or whatever the gender roles were. But we used our discretionary time to practice the skills we needed in order to survive in the time in which we lived.
Okay.
And that's true of just about any society, whether we're talking about high desert in Africa or whether we're talking about cold places. It's that, okay, we got some free time. All right, let's figure out what to do. Now, I saw an interesting thing about this one time. My family, I don't know if I mentioned this, my family was invited to go to the high desert in Africa.
No.
Yeah. Okay. National Geographic somehow found me and Tanya Nichols and Allison and said, would you guys like to do this National Geographic special? And I'm saying, well, what is it? They said, well, we dropped you somewhere in the world and you don't know where you're going. And you spend a week there getting used to the culture, right?
Okay.
All right. And I said, well, that sounds exciting to me. And I knew Allison would love it.
Yeah.
Also knew Tanya Nichols would have no part of it.
Right.
I knew they weren't going to have no part of it. But they said, we'll send you one to watch.
Okay.
Right, so they sent us one of this white family that got sent to the high African desert. Right?
Okay.
Now, we got cultural difference here, right?
Yeah.
We got environmental differences. We just got all kinds of differences. So these guys are getting off the plane, and the tribal people are coming up to the plane, and it's the dad's responsibility from Oklahoma to sacrifice a goat.
Oh,
because that's
like a customary thing to do.
As a culture, you sacrifice the goat. So you can imagine, you ain't walking in a safe way and buy no goat. You actually have to kill this goat. But the one I'm getting to is the little boy, maybe typical old American boy. First thing he did is see through dirt in the well. Just not even thinking. Just, there's a hole, I'm going to throw some dirt in it, which means they had to drain the whole well and do it all over again.
Wow.
And then he was trying to explain to him that he was bored. They had no word for bored. They have no idea what bored is.
Yeah.
A bored is an American concept.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because typically, when you've got free time, you're practicing the survival skills that are required for you to be able to survive. And you could be doing that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Bored. I mean, and that's why the guy who brought yoga to America said that Americans need to have some kind of workshop that living is an art, because there's just too much here for them, for the happiness index to be down, for the trust index to be down.
Yes.
So at any rate, I started looking at, I wasn't going to accept the fact that the profession that I had decided to be in was leftover space, was leftover time, and leftover money. So I had to start to think about why people think that. And partially because some of our definitions of things are based on a work-centered society. Right? Some of our definitions, first of recreation. It's about recreating people for work. That's back in the Depression, and then after World War I, World War II, and we had this new thing called free time that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
So discretionary time only existed to prepare people to be able to go back to work, to rest, to go back to work.
Wow.
So let's see what else about that. When you look at definitions of leisure, there are at least 4 definitions of leisure.
Okay.
There's the Aristotelian definition, which is leisure is a frame of mind. Leisure is a frame of mind. I kind of feel like that right now. I'm here in my backyard. I'm hearing the birds chirp. I'm with you. It's not too hot out here.
Yeah.
I am at leisure.
Yes. Okay.
Now, this is what leisure Sounds like. And when I was teaching classes to try to get people to do that, and I was trying to tell them because they couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
I'm saying leisure is a frame of mind, and I said there can't be anything called leisure time. And I'm going to try to remember how this was. And I did this algebraically.
Okay.
If we have leisure, and leisure is leisure time, then leisure time is leisure time.
I got you. I get it.
What is it that leisure is defining?
Yeah.
What is it that it's not a block of time. Now,
Yes.
then Thorsten Veblen
Okay.
did a definition of leisure in a book called Theory of the Leisure Class.
Okay.
And his perception was leisure was all about conspicuous consumption and conspicuous display, showing people what you got. That would have been back in England. So when we look at these definitions, all right, but now when we look at these definitions, we're not looking at indigenous kinds of cultures. When we're looking at this one, we're looking at England and how people used to dress up. And so the epitome of leisure as conspicuous consumption is spending large amounts of money on small but intense pleasures.
Okay.
That's what got me out in the river.
That's right. You said
large amounts of money on small but intense pleasures.
Okay.
Right. And then you get your status in your community by being able to do things. Right.
Right. Okay.
So then there was a guy named Jaffar Dumazadieh who saw leisure as activity. He defined leisure as we define recreation. Okay. He said leisure is actually the act of being involved.
Okay.
All right. And then so then we came up with the Industrial Revolution definition that leisure is free time that allows you to get involved in activities, but they don't say it, but they don't leave it out. But it prepares you for work. But the leisure gives you the rest that you need and to be able to eat and take care of your family. That's what that's for. Okay. So there have been these 4 definitions of leisure. So if we're talking about basic definitions of recreation, some people see it as amusement, self-directed play, in just spontaneous activity that exists for its own self. Or you could say this: recreation and leisure are the quintessential essence of replenishing the human soul. It refreshes and challenges our bodies and minds and allows us to strengthen courage to affect others in a positive manner.
Oh, man.
The quintessential essence of replenishing the human soul. It refreshes and challenges our bodies and minds and allows us to strengthen courage to affect others in a positive manner. Now, before you think I came up with this, there's a student somewhere at Western Washington University who they knew I was going to ask this question, and they got together as a group, and they created this definition because they thought it was.
Whoa. Now, that definition does make me think about resilience and like when I look at it in that regard, it puts my mind in that way of thinking, okay, we can make people more powerful or help people feel like they're more powerful or help them to claim their own power, help them to advance their own life, to not, as we were saying earlier, to not get hopeless when things, get down because you have activated the skill of survival, but you've also replenished and refreshed yourself.
It's that adaptation skill that becomes the most important skill to people on this planet. Things happen and you adapt. And how do you learn how to adapt? Now, here's my personal definition. Okay. This is the one I did create.
Okay. All right.
Recreation is the act of selecting, participating in, and reliving experiences that result in achieving and maintaining the balance required to live life fully and then the realization of human potential. Okay. But we have
a question about something.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Ask your question.
It was the word reliving. Because can it also be something that you have not? Well, no, I guess that's where the replenish come in. Because I was going to say, can it be something that you haven't done before?
Well, how would you? Well,
yeah, is that what I'm saying? Yeah, how would it be leisurely unless you've done it before?
unless you sort of know what the outcome, or you anticipate what the outcome is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so to get away from that self-directed play and amusement, and the other thing about Parks and Recreation, their vocabularies are so horrible. So I don't know if you were here when we had concerts in our backyard. Oh, that was during the pandemic. I'll tell you.
Okay.
But okay, so I'm kind of looking at my yard here, and there's a bunch of bunnies living under the house, and I'm watching the dogs run around. All right, totally unplanned. Ain't no planned activity, just stuff that happens. So stuff happens like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do plan recreation. And then sometimes the activity that you plan wasn't as good as the plan.
Yeah, I've had that.
So Tanya and I would be planning vacations, and her favorite place is Hawaii. My favorite place is a couple other places, and then but she's planning a vacation. Is if I ain't gonna be there. She's planning a vacation. She's gonna be there, and she's gonna sleep late, and she's gonna do all of those Tanya things, right? And I'm planning the vacation if I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna be getting up early, and I'm gonna be walking on the beaches early in the morning. And ain't none of that gonna happen. So the recreational part of it, well, the planning part of it, we got more enjoyment.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that's how we need to start thinking differently about this.
Okay.
Or how about this one?
Okay.
And then we probably need to move on to some other stuff.
Okay.
Allison is 7 years old. We go to Alaska, and Allison wants to go everywhere I go. So I'm working in Alaska. She wants to go to Valdez for 5 years.
Okay.
Right. We enroll her in Valdez school.
Okay.
And she, of course, the sharpest person in school. And she was doing like fifth grade shit, and she was in the second grade. But all right. And then we started enjoying Valdez. I mean, we went snowshoeing, we went cross country skiing, we went in a glide boat. I mean, we did everything that they kind of do except downhill skiing.
Okay.
So then it's next to the last day we're there, and this person says, "Have you guys been up to Thompson's Pass?" And I said, "No, what's that?" They said, "It's a glacier. It's 26 miles northeast of Valdez, and it's a big reason why people come to Valdez." And I said, "How do you get there?" And they said, "Well, you got to have a car." So the person I'm working for lends me their car, and they say, I don't know why, they say, make sure that when you're not in the car, you lock the car because somebody's car got stolen. Now, I don't know how you steal a car in Valdez. There's 26 miles, one road in and out.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyhow, I take her car, and Allison and I go up, and it's really pretty. And we go to the glacier, and we're coming back, and we see this one alpine meadow. I have a picture of it.
Okay.
This alpine meadow, and Allison says, "Let's get out and take a picture." Well, we get out and take a picture. And Allison remembers what the lady said.
Don't leave the car.
Lock the car.
Lock the car.
If you leave the car, lock the car.
Yeah.
I ain't locking the car. You're just walking out here to this one thing, and I'm taking a picture. And then we're walking back to the car. I'm not thinking about locking the car. All right. We come back to the car. The car is locked. We are 30 miles from Valdez at dusk. We had heard there was this law in Valdez that if anybody is hitchhiking, you have to pick them up. Well, that shit ain't true. Don't ever let nobody tell you that shit ain't true. That shit ain't true. So we now had to find a way back. You understand how terrifying this is?
Yeah.
I got a 6-year-old girl, right? I've been kidding her about bears in Alaska and about freezing to death in Alaska. And then immediately upon finding out the car is like, I look at her and go, "Allison, did you lock the car?" Right? And I'm putting all that shit on her. Because I can't take responsibility for that. All right. So the issue is not only do I have to solve this problem, this is a demonstration of how problems are solved.
Okay.
Right. Now, when Allison and I talk about the memory of this shit, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Because we didn't tell Tanya.
Y'all just went.
No, we didn't tell her we were going. We didn't tell her what happened. We didn't tell her about getting locked out. Yeah. But when you talk about it, like if you saw it on a sitcom, this would be funny. The only reason why I'm funny is because it's happening to you. Yeah. All right.
Wow. Okay.
But getting back to Parks and Recreation, nothing is a greater indicator of civility, community, compassion. Nothing is a greater symbol of a great city than its Department of Parks and Recreation, and how its Department of Parks and Recreation shows that it cares for its citizens.
Okay.
So what we know about Parks and Recreation is that you judge the quality of any civilization by looking at four things, and I think I did mention this last time. You look at the condition of their most vulnerable citizens, the disabled, people of color, poor people. Then you look at the quality of their environment. Does their environment reflect the fact that we need this ecosystem? Does it reflect the wisdom of their decisions about environments, or does it reflect self-indulgence? Right.
Okay.
All right. So we got their most vulnerable citizens, how they use their discretionary time, what their environment looks like, and I'm gonna have to come up with this other one, but it's not possible. But see, recreation is a laboratory, or let's call it a petri dish.
Okay.
A petri dish. In a petri dish, you can create good bacteria, and you can create bad bacteria. Free time that is not considered transactional. There's a petri dish full of bad bacteria that's going to contribute to the difficult times we have in society.
Wow. Okay. Now, it would then seem then for you to learn how to use that time or to improve what you do with that time, right? Because you're already going to know something. Like you said, you're going to practice survival skills. You're going to figure something out. And I agree with you about the whole board part because, I'm like, if you know how to keep your mind active, whether you're moving your body or not, it's like there's something always going on. It seems like people of other cultures understand that, But okay, so you learn how to do things culturally, and also when you're exposed to difference and new things. And now we're dealing with it in a time right now with DEI in particular, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is just going through a backlash. And I know that you've done the work to promote, to enhance, increase that in the various places where you've been. I'd like to know, basically, it's kind of like a 2-in-1. Can you share like your opinion of why this backlash is happening, and then what's a way of bringing people into the conversation so that we can have it more eloquently and smoothly? So why it's happening? Now, how can we bring people into it?
Well,
because I've seen you do it.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's happening.
Yes,
is a really interesting question because it's been happening forever. This goes back to, and this is what's interesting about equity work. The ethnicity, culture, lifestyle part of this, right? That's about how we get along together as groups and how we see each other. So it's really interesting, but in a hunter-gatherer society, if my tribe met your tribe, and let's say you got men in your tribe, I got women in my tribe, vice versa, but I want to pretty much keep the men in your tribe away from the men in my tribe. So what would I do to be able to do that? I could kill them.
Yeah.
Well, I can make up stories about it.
Okay,
so my friend Frank,
discouraged. Okay,
my friend Frank, my best friend, one of my best friends, played football at Oregon. I mean, he and I are like joined at the hip, and people who were attracted to him were attracted to me. They were attracted to him because he's a young, good-looking defensive back, and they're just a really great guy. And they were attracted to me because I'm 7 years older than him, and I got some intellect, But when you're in college, the young people are mostly going to be attracted to the young guy, right? So I had to make up stories about Frank. Frank had syphilis.
Oh, no, yes. You made up stories.
You understand? how you would
That's
make up
interesting.
stories because you would want the males of their tribe to seem to be distasteful and untouchable, so we make up stories about them. And so most people believe that sexism is the basis of racism. It was protecting the women in their tribe and doing what you had to do, and whether it was violent or whether it was making up stories about Frank. That's what it was.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Now, fast forward. When I first got involved in this work, it was 1970, Cal State. So it was actually 1969.
Okay.
When they asked me to be the chair of Cal State Sacramento's first affirmative action committee, which has been introducing the idea of affirmative action into the school.
Okay.
And then I was asked to do this a couple of times. I kept asking myself, why me, why me, why me?
Yeah.
Right. But so the first thing that was about compliance. The Executive Order 11246 says we will not deal with organizations that discriminate, and we will look at your hiring statistics to determine whether you're discriminating or not. And if we find out you're discriminating, we won't give you federal resources.
Okay.
That was compliance.
Okay.
Right. Now, when you think about a place that you could introduce a concept that might assuage something as emotional as racism, placing that activity at the hiring space is the worst idea you could have done.
Ooh.
Because you've got a white person and a person of color trying to raise a family, right? Doing the best thing they can.
Yeah.
And then somehow you're creating an activity that pits them against each other, and they're using race as the reason why each of them did not get the job. I didn't get the job because they gave it to the black guy. I didn't get the job because but at what point would it be worse when I've got so much at stake in terms of feeding my family and my career and all that stuff? So that affirmative action was never a good idea. Could you imagine if they had put into, since we're talking about Executive Order 11246 was 7. Can you imagine if we were talking about investing all the money and making sure education was delivering the right products to the right people? If we did that in 1970 and made sure that all educational institutions had the money that they needed in order to give these people the skills that they needed when they got to the workplace, what would it be different?
It'd be very different.
See, you go to schools and say, where is it that people develop the skills that they need to be able to work in this place, right? And we say, for the most part, that's what universities do, right?
Yeah.
So then, why don't we work on making sure that school, K through 12, is all about understanding diversity, kinship, order, chaos, randomness, and having those people grow up understanding how to facilitate and how to lead that. But not only that, and I think you and I have talked about this. Another problem is the axis, the horizontal axis versus the vertical axis. And the vertical axis is all the transactional stuff we do to try to achieve equity.
Okay.
Like policy, procedure, budget.
Okay. Yeah. Which you can kind of say might be compliance too. That's kind of compliance in a way too.
Well,
right?
Yeah. And people thought compliance was easier because, it's just numbers. It's compliance. But then you have the people thing, right? You have the people thing. And the question is, how do we get the people to understand why this needs to happen? And we don't need to do this because we need to make things even. We don't need to do this to make up for past injustices. We need to do this because we're a smarter country if we take advantage of all this diversity we got. I mean, this is the most diverse country, I think, in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And when you consider all the people who are here and all the people we have to learn from and grow from, if we decided that diversity was an asset full of possibilities and growth, then we come together to do it.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
So, Thomas, I did this once with a friend of mine, you met Rico.
Yep.
Where he and I were doing a summer program. So we decided we're going to use food. Right?
To attract the people?
Well, no, we got a group.
Okay.
We got a group of 25 kids.
Okay.
And the activity is beginning to understand our issue through food.
Okay.
Through cooking and others.
Okay.
So me and Rico went to all of the cultural grocery stores in the city of Seattle. And then we went to community shit. We just laid that shit on the table. Chinese shit, Italian shit. Just laid it on the table and said, okay, cook.
That's it.
What do you think they did?
Did they try to cook?
They didn't know what none of this stuff was except their stuff.
Okay. So each person or each group, it's something that they knew was there.
Something they knew was there, but not enough of what they knew was there.
Okay.
So when the black people see the little lemongrass thing, they go, lemon, grass, this must go in a salad. In which case you will die. But you understand, but then the other thing that happens is there's this thing called the IQ drop, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where you got all this food on the table, and you're going to start cooking without knowing what it is. Your IQ drops, but you figure, this is what we got to do. So I think some of it has to do with the bell-shaped curve.
Yep.
There are people who are wonderful people and people who are terrible people, and there are people everywhere along the way. Right. I don't think the people who are on the deficit end of the spectrum, they ain't gonna never do nothing right.
Okay.
And that's why every leader I worked for said, you don't have to talk nobody into you don't have to talk nobody into believing that racism exists. You don't have to have that conversation. We're going to proceed as if this is the case. Is that this is, and we're going to create as little animosity about it as possible.
Okay.
Well, going back to the people who hired me to do this work, and I asked Greg Nichols, who was mayor of Seattle specifically, and I actually talked to some other people about it the first year. Okay. And they said, we asked you to do this because you seem to have a way of getting people together and holding them together during crisis. Because that's the human side, right? They said, we're about to introduce some stuff that's going to scare some people, that's going to make some people afraid, that's going to make some people want to run away from it. And so
that's why you called yourself a disruptor.
I'm a disruptor, I'm an irritator, but I'm also a cheerleader. And I also, but based on the trash truck, I don't give up on people.
I got you.
But I ran into some of that when some of the people who were on my team would accuse me of rescuing white people. And they're going, white people did this shit for a long time, and now we get in a room and we say something that white people have said, and you feel like you need to rescue them, and say, we think that's wrong. We don't think you should be rescuing them. Well, but I'm saying to them, I need them more than I need you. Long term. Long term, I need them to be with me and them to grow with me. They shouldn't know this stuff. They should misspeak. They should say bad stuff because they don't know how to do this. And I'm going to do the same thing. But I have to give us an opportunity for us to grow together because they have people who they're in touch with where it's like
sound like truth reconciliation.
Who was the guy who wrote he says, this work starts with it starts with critical mass of people who want to change. It starts with a force field. That critical mass begins to engage other people, and then there's a tipping point where everybody gets it.
Gladwell,
Malcolm Gladwell, right, tipping point. So that's how I approached the work I was doing. There's going to be a critical mass of people, and I surrounded myself with some of the most special people I could ever be with. And these are people who would be honest with me, but also tell me when I wasn't right.
Okay.
And have the ability to do that.
And that's diversity.
that because I have to have some thinking other than my thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that you bring that up because, you know, I grew up disadvantaged for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, when you consider both parents having PhDs,
Yeah.
so I could come to the Racial and Social Justice Initiative and say, based on my experience as a Black man in America, you don't need to do all this. You just need to make sure your parents go out and get PhDs.
Mm-hmm.
That was my orientation.
Right.
And I realized I could not be egocentric.
Yes, I would. Yeah.
I could not be ethnocentric.
Yeah.
I could not have preconceived notions about how I thought this was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get rid of my defensive emotions, the emotions where I would usually react. And yeah. And so, but the problem is people aren't paying attention to that horizontal thing. That they believe that the psychic energy that's happening down there is unavoidable. Mm-hmm. But then that goes back to a thing called the victimization entitlement syndrome. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Here's how you know you're a victim. You're a victim of somebody who's imposed something on you, have hurt you, have humiliated you, have taken something from you, right? And I think there are a couple more. Mm-hmm. Could people call the United States plain victimization? Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Yeah. So here's what happens, though, with the victimization entitlement syndrome. Mm-hmm. When you're victimized, you then feel entitled to hurt the people who victimize you, to get even with the people who victimize you, to cause them to suffer the way you suffered. There's a victimization entitlement syndrome, and going back to the force, mm-hmm. we have an opportunity now for a response or a reaction. Mm-hmm. Okay. We have an opportunity for a response or a reaction. So these people did this to me, so I'm going to do this to them, which then goes back and victimizes the original victimizers. And what you have is reciprocal victimization, where everybody is involved in solving the problem and nobody is involved in coming up with a solution. Mandela and Tutu said, if we do to them what they did to us, we are no better than they are. So we need to transcend, we need to forgive, and we need to empty all of that stuff that's inside. And that don't mean we're still not angry and frustrated and we don't have memories, right? But it doesn't get us anywhere.
Okay. Are you getting this? You see how you just did that? You see how you just did that? It brought us to... I knew it. I knew we were going to get this. I didn't know it. I just felt that truth and reconciliation may come because that's one of the only examples of where I've seen that, and mm-hmm. I've seen a person who also survived the trauma or an attack mm-hmm. and came out and actually enacted that for real. To know that it's, it may not have been perfect, but it worked mm-hmm. and it's still working, And so, and so with that, the way that you now have just broken down how to bring people into the conversation and also why there is a backlash, mm-hmm. I want to ask you about something, and I don't want to rush through, but I kind of want a quick answer with this one so we can, because I want to ask you about your life plan. That's mm-hmm. the last question. Mm-hmm. When we talked together, which was some of the most fun times I had, okay, that's cute. That was fun going in there in the morning, preparing, talking mm-hmm. to you, building, then going, sitting in class, mm-hmm. having an experience, and after class, and watching back and unpack. Oh yeah, and watching the ahas and being able to sit with each other and be like, "Do you see this? Do you this? What do they have on? What is this?" That was something that was very unorthodox that you suggested, mm-hmm. and I was like, "What?" Till I went back and listened to for myself. Mm-hmm. So we taught a diversity and environmental justice class. Diversity and environmental justice. So we're talking about EJ, how it was founded. The movement itself was founded here in the 80s. The injustices were always going on, but then everything about diversity, as Mickey was saying. And one time you said, I think that we should play the Marvin Gaye What's Going On album in class. Mm-hmm. Now, you need to understand, that's one of my favorite albums of all time, and it's one of the best in the world. But I was like, what in the world does that have to do with diversity in EJ? But I want you to answer, because I do know now. I do know now, like, and I should have thought about it then, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Why did you suggest that?
Well,
In the class.
yeah. Well, first, understand generation I grew up in.
Okay.
Right. So that was 60s, 70s. That's when that worked. I've been listening to Chicago a lot now, Simon and Garfunkel, and I've been listening to kind of the heaviness of that music. So part of it was the time that the music was coming up and what was going on right before it. And all right, so it was in I think Sgt. Pepper was 68. I think Marvin Gaye was 72. Right, and know the song is about his brother who was in Vietnam, and he wanted to talk and all this, but it's also a drug time, right? And
Yes.
I don't think you can talk about that era of music without talking about drugs. Whether you're talking about black music, whether you're talking about whatever you're talking about, you can't possibly do that, both in terms of the way the music was created and then the way you heard it.
When you heard it, what it stimulated. Yeah.
Well, you heard it. Yeah, and so I'm listening to this, and everybody in my generation is like, black people, white people, I don't care what it is, they're listening to this.
Yeah.
And then, and so I listen to that stuff periodically, even now.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the words, and I thought to myself, this is our class.
What's going on in particular?
Yeah. Environmental justice, we're talking about oil wasted on our ocean. We're talking about heavy something policing. Right?
Yes.
All right. And then I decided, I think these kids should hear her. So I said, I think y'all should listen to Marvin Gaye. The weird thing, they didn't know who he was.
It was. I was like,
And nobody in the class even knew who Marvin Gaye was.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, so this is an assignment. Right? This is an assignment. You got to listen to Marvin Gaye. And then there was a report that they had to bring back from it about how it changed their life, their appreciation of music. There was never a person who said it wasn't the most interesting exercise they had up until that time to college.
Yeah.
Because now they had something to compare something to. Right.
Yes.
In other words, everybody said, same thing going on today.
That's right.
And that's why we have to realize this stuff isn't meant to change. Here's something that's kind of happened to me this week. I realized that it's randomness and chaos that keeps stuff going, that keeps stuff evolving. It's the randomness and the chaos, and then the having to adapt to that. That's what keeps things evolving.
But see, and see, that's why I say, if you remember earlier when you were talking about uncertainty and how they're trying to remove the
uncertainty. Trying to eliminate all uncertainty?
Yeah, and I was saying that if you remove that, it's like you take away a part of what it means to be human. Because we now can't adapt. We can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I was going. That's why I was trying to articulate.
First of all, if you took away the uncertainty, we would die.
Oh,
we would die.
Okay, yeah.
If everything became certain, we would die. Because that's not, however you believe, that ain't how God did it.
Yeah, right.
It made everything is moving all the time. Everything is within limit.
Yeah, it does have
within limits. Yeah. And every now and then there's this big old thing that happens, But for the most part, all of this is doing that diversity and change. The birds we listen to right now aren't the same birds we're listening to a little bit ago.
Sure not. And they're not saying the same thing either.
No. But so for me, it's so important for me to get people to understand that diversity is an asset full of possibilities for enrichment and growth. Equity is a process. It's a transaction, right? When you look at when we're at our best, despite who we are, if I hated you as much as I hate anybody in the world, including Donald Trump right now, if a kid was trapped under a car, it would touch something in all of us to go and take that kid and to say that kid. And I've been studying a lot about emotion and how we end up assigning emotion to things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at Emmett Till.
Oh, you down there?
Well, no, I was in Chicago.
Okay.
But I'm on the board at TPL, and so we went to the Emmett Till House because we were instrumentals in sort of getting that together. And I'm having this overpowering feeling. And I'm asking myself, are white people assigning as much emotion to this as I am? Now, I don't want to say they can't, but I don't think they can in terms of what it meant to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so there's this thing now about looking at activities that we get involved in and understanding how much emotion to assign to them. Mm. So if I'm talking to a person and they're saying things that I don't necessarily think are true, or then do I assign a bunch of emotion and go off and go, that ain't right? Or do I ask questions? Do I assign the kind of emotion that asks me to? And that's another thing I do a lot. I ask a lot of questions.
Yes. And I think that's something that I picked up from you, because I remember when we met, you would ask a lot of questions of how I got, like, how'd you get interested in forestry? You were like, Black people in these disciplines, there's something weird about it. You always say that.
and I still believe it.
I do too.
I still see it happening.
Yeah, how'd you end up here? But I'm always motivated by your perspective and your outlook, because there's always either something, I'm gonna use the word righteous. Mm-hmm. You could definitely say nonviolent, but that's like peaceful, that is there. And so to be able to sit with you and to learn about your life, to even learn about your parents and your family, and and your children, and and your relationships, is a privilege, because I see how you also use those and also take what you learn into those. Mm-hmm. So it's like it feeds you, it's a loop. And so I do believe that you have ideas and thoughts, just like King's last book, where do we go from here? You have ideas and thoughts on how to solve this, which you have been sharing. Mm-hmm. So I just have one last question. Yeah. And it's you were kind of like the woman in the Count of Monte Cristo for me sometimes when we met. Like she took away his anger. I'm like, man, don't take my anger from me. It's all I got.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites, by the way.
Same. Come on now. He's like, take that away from me. He used to always, sometimes I'd be like, man, I want to be mad, man. I don't want to think about it like that. Yeah. But you have a way of doing that, finding the song says silver lining and finding the peaceful way. Mm-hmm. And you've often talked about a life plan, and I just would like for you to just share, just like, what is that for you? Okay. The life plan.
Well, when I was 55, my children were whatever age they were in the teenage kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure that my children would never be afraid of me. I was afraid of my father, not physically. He didn't beat us or anything, but as the smartest human being you ever met, he can make you feel really intellectually inferior.
Okay. You
didn't want to go to him with no bad homework. You didn't want to go out and have a dangling participle in your thing or none of that. I mean, his idea of playing with us was, me and my brother were playing baseball out in the yard, and my father comes out and we say, it's weird. Is he going to play with us? Mm-hmm. But he used it as an opportunity to explain to us Newton's law of physics.
Okay.
So that's kind of dad ideas. Okay. Go to Smithsonian, read it every time. Yeah, right. But I was afraid of my father.
Okay.
I'm real happy with what my mother and father did, because they made us do this stuff, which makes code switching a lot easier for me.
Yes.
Right. All right. So I decided I didn't want my children to be afraid of me, so I started working on this mission statement for my life. Mm-hmm. I had to figure out what a vision is. And, people get vision, mission mixed up and all that stuff. And they say they use an infinitive and a vision, and you shouldn't. And a mission, there's something else and all that stuff. So, mm-hmm. All right. So I think forever about, what is my vision? What do I want? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long it took, but here's what I came up with. Mm-hmm. I want to end my life with the same capacity to love that I started it with. That I believe I was born with unlimited capacity to love. And I want to end my life with the same capacity to love I started it with. And not have victimization, and not have bitchy people, and not have getting fired, and not having that stuff get in the way of, and not having that that bleed the love out of me. And it's been tested.
Yes.
And it's been tested a lot recently. And so, but I find the way to make sure the love stays there.
Yeah.
There's two loves.
All
right.
Yes.
All right. So then we got to my mission statement. And I've also got in grammar and all that stuff, what's the right grammar for it. But I think what it ended up being is that my mission statement is to prepare my children for the world and to prepare the world for my children.
Right.
To prepare my children for the world, to prepare the world for my children. Both of them, because you can't do one without the other.
I see.
Yeah. I can spend a lot of time working on my kids, but if I'm not working on the world, and to that degree, I've never had to make a distinction between my work and my life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that now.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Both, I've never had to make a distinction between who I am and what I do, because it's always about discovery. It's always about love. It's always about things becoming and that kind of thing. So, and then I think there was another part of the mission statement that says, I am committed to being a good father, husband, neighbor, friend, and colleague.
Wow.
That's what I want to be. Good father, So then you go through the mission statement, it gets the values. And I'm not going to remember all of these because I'm not going to pull them out of my head right now.
Yeah.
My A value is integrity, honesty, generosity. And I said integrity, right?
You did.
Kinship. And it's like 5 of them. It's like, and these are the fundamental building blocks of my life. These things are with me. These things are with me all day, every day. Right. So then I started getting to things like, well, what do I not want? And I said, I will never be a hypocrite. And a hypocrite is a person who says something and then does something in diametric opposition to that thing that they said. I won't be a hypocrite. I won't work with hypocrites. I won't work with people who hold me to a different standard than they hold themselves to.
I would respect that.
I won't see. There's a couple others. Oh, and I said to my family, and I want you to understand that I'm talking about hypocrisy, but I know I'm going to contradict myself. But contradicting yourself is different than being a hypocrite.
Yes.
And I want you to know you can expect contradiction because I ain't that smart. You can expect contradiction, but I'm never going to be a hypocrite. So then I started getting into, things I want, and I'm going to shorten this up a little bit, but I answered the question, I am happiest when. Now, go back to the theme in the trash truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am happiest when I am in discovery with people I love.
Discovery with people I love. Okay.
Teaching.
Yeah.
Parks and recreation. And not just people.
Yeah.
Others.
Yeah. Beings. Yes.
Yeah. I'm happy when I'm in nourishing systems. You know how much I like to feed people. And one of the things I'm real pissed off about the pandemic and all that other stuff is that we had those meals where we would have these, and so I like being in nourishing situations. I like being in learning environments, and I love being around people who are good at what they do. Okay. I just love watching people who are good at what they do because sometimes I want to ask myself, am I that good at anything?
Yeah, I get that.
And maybe not. But there's some stuff I'm kind of good.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So all of this, starting, February 23rd, 1947, give me 3 years for my memory start to work. I'm in the trash truck. I am committed to us making the best of this. This is amazing.
Yes.
And Thomas, I'm kind of driving myself crazy now because I'll be doing something and then I'll think of something and I think, how can my body run itself? I'm cooking and I'm trying to remember where mustard is and it's doing all that other stuff. I mean, when you look at all the stuff, and there's a great thing on Netflix I watched last night called "Explaining Your Mind,"
Okay.
and it deals with emotion and creativity.
Okay.
And by the way, once we maintain our creativity and our innovation, people who are creative are less violent, are less racist.
True.
But yet we're trying to filter the creativity out of people, right?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I know you're late.
Yeah. No. I'm good. I hope. Well, it's too much that you said. It's too much that you said, but I wanted to ask the questions a certain way on purpose. Like I said, I believe that there's gems in all of those significant moments that you shared. Everything from the march, to working in a bar, to going from one school to the other school, to then going and working, for the mayor, for the governor, And so I appreciate when I get to learn someone's journey because I can pull a lot from it. But then today I feel experience some of your brilliance, when talking about Parks and Recreation, understanding how you view it, how you see it, how it's impacted you, and also how that I appreciate now knowing why there's no separation between like work and life. Like now I get it. You see, I've known you for a decade, but to be able to, I learned a lot of things, but that's a new big thing that I just learned, like how you do that.
Tanya never understood that because she's a marketing person.
Yeah,
she does marketing and then she goes home.
Yeah, it's something, man. To be able to sit and just listen to you. Because it's actually
somebody said to me once. They said it's interesting how your ideas about recreation corresponded with the age of your children.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I came up with this thing called Adventure Weekends, just because the kids are teenagers now, and me and Tanya happened, we're doing shit with them and all that, and so I decided we were going to create this thing called Adventure Weekend, send the motherfuckers away Friday night, and come back Sunday morning, and do acting, do cooking, but some skill, but you got a weekend to do it, because what's messed up about recreation program now, nobody can commit 8 weeks in a row.
No.
I can't commit that. I want to go to comedy, but it's 8 weeks in a row, and I know I can't get there 8 weeks in a row. So we had Discover Weekends where they went on Friday night and they were done on Sunday morning, whether it was about, and then it got to be about hardware at home.
Yeah.
It's like come in and understand what this little tool does.
Yes, figure this out.
I don't know why Parks and Recreation agencies don't do that shit, man.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think that one of the challenges, as you mentioned, is that if you don't have a heterogeneous decision making like the green people, if you don't have that, then you can't see that. I mean, I couldn't have even seen that, just hearing you say it. And to be honest, like that's what I hope that people will take. It's too many things that I hope people will take away. But one of the things I hope you take away, that's why I wanted to end with his life plan. I think that vision of generosity, love, will keep you. It'll help you not to get angry when things happen. It don't mean you won't get angry. I love how you broke down contradiction versus, hypocrite, contradiction of self. The thing is that I hope everyone who listens or watches this, I know you can see yourself in some of his story, if not a lot of it, if not all of it. You can see yourself in pieces of it. And to see where he is now, it has a lot to do with the mindset that you have. And I would even say the heart set. And so I just want people to be able to, I know you heard his philosophy, but apply it. He also took you through his upbringing. So you see that he had to apply it. It wasn't always easy setting, but he did it. And then he was also vulnerable in sharing that some of that's been tested even recently. So, I want to thank you for being open. I want to thank you for sharing, what you did. It did not go on, and it didn't go on long. It went exactly how it was supposed to, because people have to pull what they can from wherever you said it. Okay, it is your story, but now it is an experience for the world that they can pull from now. Okay, as I've been doing for the last decade. So appreciate you, my friend.
It's reciprocal.
Thank you, man.
It's reciprocal.
And as you see how the talks are,
whenever we're talking, I'm learning. He's giving something, he's learning. So you see, it was an easy conversation. And so to me, like, this is part of what Heartwood is about, to talk to leaders who are pushing culture forward, who are also even pushing themselves forward, as my friend is doing, and to take from it, learn from it, and share it, to share with the world. I'm fortunate, though, that I get to talk to people who are either the brilliant ones pushing the culture, but then they also are my friends and family. So I'm happy to be able to do this because it's fun for me. Please, stay in touch with us. Another episode of Heartwood is coming. But I think you're going to need to watch this over and over again because I know that I am. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us and we can make that connection. But until then, Dr. Thomas Rashard Easley, a.k.a. Hip Hop Forester, a.k.a. Heartwood. We just spent the insects like me tonight. We just finished spending our time with Real Bliss Videography talking to none other than Mickey Fearn, who many people consider to be, and I agree, to be a rock star, especially when it comes to partial recreation. Y'all be safe, go in grace, go in love. Till we catch y'all next time. Peace.